Well, good Tuesday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here from my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Wow, it's Tuesday already. It's early Tuesday morning. I'm up because I'm getting ready to head on down the road to work on the red brick house. I get excited. It's a lot of hard work. I will not lie to you, but it's one of those things. I have been an owner of my business where I had 20 guys working multiple projects and things, and being the guy that managed those jobs. But I hated it. I hated the paperwork. I hated, dealing with, all the stuff that comes along with being the owner of it and stuff. I am a guy that likes to just get down and dirty with the actual work. I can't imagine more joy than at the end of the day, understanding that the house is 203 years old, that they built this piece by piece by hand, that it has stood that test of time and now needs repairs, needs updating and things. And now I'm a link in that chain. And at the end of the day, after being covered with dirt, crawling up underneath of it, moving bricks, re-cementing stuff, reframing up walls, pulling out old nails and things, seeing my son slip through the kitchen floor that was rotted out. But at the end of the day, you see a new wall go up, or you see the floor's been fixed, or you see now there's lights in there. It is the biggest satisfaction and feeling of accomplishment that you can have. I can't get that. I couldn't get that same feeling, that same rush from sitting behind a desk, telling somebody else to do it. I like being dirty and covered with dust and feeling like I did that. And that's the way it feels, really, just about anything when you accomplish something. And when the Cowboys win another Super Bowl, that feeling of building it, I can't imagine, after as long as it's been, for Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Will McClay, and if it's Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott, after all of the trials and tribulations and dealing with the history of the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys that have been that great franchise that have been on top of the mountain, that their star has gotten dirty and needing of repair. Getting that done will be so sweet. And I will say, I talked to my buddy Philly.500 yesterday, and of course they're looking at Bijan Robinson. They want him, or as he put it, his fans want Bijan Robinson, and we got the Cowboy fans. And he's doing these shirts. They're non-eagle-like, per se. They're Bijan draft hats that he's doing and stuff. And he's like, yeah, we got these hats. Maybe some of the Cowboy fans might want them because they're not Eagles colors and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get one. He's got them pre-sailed until April 15th, I think, or something like that. And then they're going to be shipped out after that. But the Cowboys, in rebuilding this old house, has gotten Philly.500 a little worried. He admitted to me yesterday, he's like, man, the Cowboys, I can't bust on them for what they've done this offseason. He's like, they've closed the gap. And I said, they closed the gap? I said, you mean with Dak Prescott, the guy who drops 40 points on you guys on a regular? Are you worried? And then the phone just went quiet. Are you scared? No, I'm not scared. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay. And I will say that the Cowboys have closed the gap. Now, this again is the lull before the storm. This is now teams beginning to kind of hunker down to get ready for the draft. there will still be a few moves made. You know, we heard the Baltimore Ravens offered a contract to Odell. He's looking for a 1 year now, $15 million deal. I don't think he's getting that. And the Ravens offer $15 million to a guy who's coming back from back-to-back ACLs. That's kind of a slap in Lamar Jackson's face, although maybe they're going to say, Lamar, we're going out and getting you some weapons and things. Let's work this thing out. You know, it's not going to be the contract you want, but it's going to be the contract you have. And then there's word out there that possibly, and I kind of touched on this a little bit yesterday. I said that the Cardinals aren't going to want to take that $29 million cap hit and may reduce their asking costs for him. But now there's word from some people that it's possible that they may just release him. Now, some people will say, well, of course, they're not going to just release him because, you know, he's too valuable of a player. Well, I dare say you could look at what we did with Amari Cooper last year. I mean, a 5th-round pick for Amari, although people will say, well, you only got a 5th for Brandon Cooks. But I think about like DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware still had something in the tank. And we just cut him because of cap ramifications. It was $16 million, and at that time, that was a really big cap hit. So when you start thinking about his $19 million salary that a team would need to take on and the $29 million hit that they would take because of restructuring his contracts and bonuses and stuff, then you start looking at it and saying, that's the highest hit they have on that roster. And it's a player that's getting older. Now, I don't know that the Cowboys would sign DeAndre Hopkins, but from where I stand here, I don't know that we can have too many weapons. And if it ends up being that you could get a DeAndre Hopkins, then you look and say, okay, that's another spot where we are actually have extras. We got backups. We've got different scenarios of guys we can put out there to confuse guys. We can keep guys fresh. So we wear out the secondary. And I would rather go from the lack of having playmakers last year to having too many this year. I don't see too many teams that are making the Super Bowl with no weapons at all. They have them. Defensively, I still need that defensive tackle. I think we are a defensive tackle or two away from being truly one of the best defenses in football. We're going to be really good, but we still need to take care of our soft underbelly, and maybe we'll be able to do that in the draft. So there's not a lot going on right now, but there's the controversy about the women's national championship. Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark, the whole trash talking and everything else. The thing that's kind of funny about this, well, it shows you that things in life aren't fair. But I dare say that this is probably the best thing that could happen to women's basketball because everybody is talking about it. There's an old saying that there's no such thing as bad publicity. The attention that is now paid on these two athletes that are extremely incredible athletes, the competitive nature, the game itself, will elevate and take to another level women's college basketball. And here's what you also have to look at too, that when these two women go to professional basketball, you now have the rivalry. Think about Magic and Bird. You follow me? That it will be these two that will be followed because of what happened here. Now I want to play Pat McAfee because, see, this is, if you're a YouTuber, you know, just getting started or been there or somebody like me, you look at somebody like Pat McAfee, who is a national treasure, who was a punter. And we all know we hate punters. We hate kickers. Don't lie. Only a mama loves their kicker son. But Pat McAfee, take a look at it. Look at it. You know, T-shirt, you know, chain, stands up. Look, I keep trying to point out to my wife, because she always says, you got too much stuff on your desk. I say, honey, look at his desk. Look at it. She's like, yeah, but he doesn't have anything on the walls behind him. It's like, okay. But the fact that Pat McAfee, a punter, could create on YouTube a program that daily sees more than double the views of First Take or Undisputed, that has literally turned it into wrestling mania, to working with the NFL, to even being sued by Brett Favre. You have to look at that and say, wow, that gives hope to every single one of us out there. That it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you did before. It matters what you do right here. And that anybody, even if they're in their mama's basement, they can be a voice that people will watch. But let's listen to Pat McAfee on the controversy. And I don't think it should be a controversy, because this is another case where it shows you that things in life aren't equal.
Fucking final just yesterday.
Awesome.
LSU beat Iowa. Shout out to Caitlyn Clark and that Iowa Hawkeye team run. And shout out to this squad. This girl right here, I believe, went to West Virginia at some point. She had like 21 points coming off the bench. The girl way over there, Angel Reese, everybody's mad at her for talking shit, okay? I don't know why we're doing that in sports. Seems like something that happened. I do understand how people could be confused that when your team wins a natty, and you saw the coach crying, and many of the players, if you win a national championship, incredibly emotional moment.
Yeah.
I think there's people that could potentially ask the question, like, in that moment, instead of being like overwhelmingly happy and crying and just taking in a moment with teammates and with coach, she chose to talk shit to Caitlyn Clark instead. So I can see how some people could be mad about that. I would like to let them know I'm not one of them. I enjoy the fact that till the final fucking second was on the clock, she was like, what's that?
Yeah.
I mean, that is something that I think if you're an athlete and a competitor, like, that's savage, dude. Like, because that could be a moment that could get too big for even the biggest of shit talkers or the biggest dogs in any sport. Just won a natty. This is bananas. This is a massive moment. And to power through that and be like, nope, I got some shit to say. I think that's a dog mentality that I think is hilarious. It caused quite a conversation on the internet. People are not happy with her doing it. Show a little class. Show a little class. It's like, hey, some people that are competitive aren't classy. Like, there's some people that talk shit. There's a lot of people that we love that are huge shit talkers in society. And in any way that you can motivate yourself to become the best version of you in sports, you're allowed to do so. That's kind of the difference of sports in the rest of the world. Obviously, the way she motivates herself and the way she has gotten to the point where she has led a team to a national championship in college, which means she's an absolute dog, has been with an attitude of being a shit talker. So that was a surprising thing that people were upset at her about. I'm like, if a dude was doing this, they'd be like, this dude's awesome.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
But I don't think the people that were saying, that would say this dude is awesome, were the people that are mad about it.
Sure.
So, like, I would like that to be known.
I agree.
Because, like, we would definitely say, this dude's fucking awesome if this dude was doing it. Just because if you think about the human and everything we just explained, to worry about that as opposed to what you could be worrying about in that moment is, like, savage, which I just kind of explained. I don't think anybody that would go to bat for a male athlete that was doing that were the people that were being very loud about it not being classy or not should do that.
Sure.
So I don't like that automatically starts happening, where people are like, well, if this was a guy, everybody, the same people that are upset, it's like, I don't think that's the case. No. I think this is a different audience that maybe doesn't even know all of the dudes that do a lot of shit talking in the sports world. I think personally, could be wrong. But once again, the internet's going to have its reactions, and it should not take away from the fact that the LSU Tigers, go Tigers, are national champions, and the fact that I learned of a human named Caitlyn Clark, who I am a massive fucking fan of. And I can't wait for this offseason when there's no lights on in the gym, and it's 4:30 a.m., and there's nobody there, and Caitlyn Clark has 2 basketballs, and she's just fucking doing this for 4,000 reps or whatever, and all she's thinking about is this very tall girl who played for LSU, who before she fucking won her national championship felt obligated to go to Caitlyn Clark and go, hey, bitch, you can't see me. That's all Caitlyn Clark is going to be thinking about for the next 4 to 5 months, and whenever that happens, wait until we see Caitlyn Clark next season. This is like, this is great for sports. I think what college basketball, the women's side did during this entire tournament was fantastic for the sport as a whole. And I like that it has juice.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Big
that there's
time
juice. I think everybody should.
Amen. 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 And that's, the way it should be. It's amazing that I don't know what's wrong with the world. I don't know what's wrong with the world that no matter what happens in any situation, all we have is hate. All we have is, 2 sides where you've got to decide which side I'm on. And if you're not on this side, you are the enemy and you are literally hated upon. Life is short. Life is precious. And instead of enjoying what was an incredible basketball game with 2 teams with everything on the line, giving it their all and being happy about witnessing that, we just blow by all that to get to a controversy of something to hate. In everything. And it's just crazy. You can literally say, the sky is blue. And you're going to get people saying, no, it's not. You're full of shit. You're lying. It's not blue. Come on, people. We are Americans. We, and I don't care what race, creed, color, or color. We're all in this shit together, whether you realize it or not. And we cannot survive without each other. Let's try and do better, people. Let's just try. Can't we all just get along? And with that being said, I am going to go back and work on a piece of history. A house 203 years old that was originally a schoolhouse. It's probably built by my ancestors that were slaves. And of course, they couldn't go to it and get an education. That this house, doctors, soldiers who died through the Civil War, a house that was the Masons' home, a house that had numerous families living generation and generation on, a house that has been here since there were only 21 states in the Union, a house that now it is my task, my duty, my joy to hold on to that history, good and bad. Because everything that happened at that house is what made that house. And that's the truth about history for all of us. The good, the bad. We can't selectively pick and choose and all that. We need to do better as a society and stop the hate on everything. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys listening to me being on my soapbox. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And if you're interested in that history, check out Jobu's Day Job. You can see from day one when we got the house in 2016, 2017, going through the process of getting the zoning change so we could actually get the building permits for it to start doing it, to literally Michael going through the kitchen floor and rebuilding that, through where we are right now with electricity, the water, got to start digging for the sewer line, and things, and seeing it come back to life. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'll see you soon.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the sports report.
You've been one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to